to paint off a couple of screens. Esquivel to Garcia. Off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
There's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. The field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game.
Smack to the left. That is gone.
Rafa Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard. Counting and a win.
And a win. Brian Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go nuts. And why not?
Back once again here from none other than beautiful Luke Fruia Motors, Luke Fruia Buick GMC, and Cadillac. Of course, this is Sports Talk, and this should be very exciting, a very exciting show. I'm Jacob Young, and this is Rio Sports Live Network. There's much to talk about in the span of course, yesterday. There's a lot of games to be played this weekend that matter a lot for, of course, district play. A lot of district play, of course, getting underway. That was also last week as well. Some are in week number 2 of district play as well. We'll break it down for you all, especially the games that we are covering this week, which, of course, I always like to start off on the show of breaking, or not breaking down, but telling you all what is to expect on Rio Sports Live, of course, coming up this week. We'll start off with that here momentarily. Now, it's a great, of course, day here Wednesday on September 24th, 2025. Of course, the temperature is not the best. It's 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Storms possible, of course, tomorrow here in Brownsville, Texas. Of course, it feels a lot more like 108 degrees Fahrenheit, just like in McAllen, Texas. Around the whole entire valley, you're expecting to feel like it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Down to 7 p.m., 88 degrees will be the temperature at sunset at 7:23. Your temperature is going to go down to 86, 84, 83, so it's still going to be a bit hot throughout the whole entire day. Hopefully, of course, a breeze comes through this evening. There is a breeze that's trying to make it not feel as bad, but it's one of those classic, of course, summer days, even though we have officially passed summer and we're officially in fall, according to, of course, the calendar. Doesn't feel like it necessarily, but it definitely is officially fall for the rest of it. Tomorrow, of course, Thursday, you're expecting 58% chance of rain here in Brownsville, Texas. 90 degrees, 74 degrees, 90 for a high, 74 for a low, 38% chance of storms possibly in the morning. So, of course, that's kind of your update for Brownsville weather, to be exact. And will that affect any of our games? Well, there is a game this upcoming weekend. Well, a couple of games this upcoming weekend in Brownsville, Texas, to be exact. No Sam Stadium just yet. There is a chance of Sam Stadium hosting some games before the season ends in 2 weeks' time. So that's very exciting. 2 Fridays, I guess, so really 3 Fridays from now, I would say, you could potentially expect a game to be played at Sam Stadium. If not 4 Fridays, 4 Thursdays even from now, I would anticipate for sure that would be the first home game for any team at Sam Stadium. And we'll be back to, of course, normal at that time. And what I mean by that is, well, for Brownsville, they help Rio Sports Live us a lot. RSL Network really has a great partnership with Brownsville in the way that for Brownsville ISD, us being able to do those events, being able for us to do the big tournaments for volleyball, for basketball, their big BISD tournaments for that. And then, of course, you move on to football, where Brownsville ISD, they have their own camera crew normally. And so on football game days, on a regular football game day that's at Sam Stadium, you have one of our announcers going over there, calling the game, with the camera work being done and the switching and the audio and everything being done by Brownsville ISD and their crew that they hire does a fantastic job, does a phenomenal job, really helps us out a lot. This year, of course, having to move to Brownsville Veterans Memorial to do football games, to Brownsville Sports Park has been a challenge, but it's been doable. But of course, that is only for the reason of Sam Stadium being redone, which was much needed, I think, in a lot of people's eyes. And sure enough, all of a sudden, now you have that opportunity, and players are going to be playing on nice turf finally, and all that good stuff. Now, going back down to it, what to expect for the rest of the week. Of course, we have this nice talk show, of course, but going on to, for varsity sports to be exact, you'll have none other than for your Channel 4 games this Thursday. Broadcast times, of course, at 6:30 p.m. Expect that's when they start. At Tom Landry Stadium, you have Mission Vets and Harlingen High School. That will be by Aaron. Aaron signs for being the announcer. Then, of course, myself will also have McAllen Rowe taking on Wattas Lincoln. So that's going to be very excited. That is this Thursday. McAllen Rowe trying to go to 2-0 in district play and trying to go to 3-2 overall for their record. As for the one, it will be streamed live on Rio Sports Live Network. That is at Brownsville Sports Park. All games will be streamed live on RSL Network, but the difference, of course, being, well, that it's going to be recorded as well, and then a ways down the line, you will have none other than that game on TV. Either way, Brownsville Sports Park, you will have Brownsville Porter taking on Pioneer High School. That one should be a great game. That is Thursday. All games, of course, for the broadcast time, they will start at 6:30 p.m. Then moving on right after that, TSC Soccer for the women and the men will play at 2 and 4:30 over in a college located up in Lufkin, Texas. We'll kind of dive into that here in a bit because I really want to get not everyone's opinion, but just to understand where TSC goes from here for this game. Their first conference game of the season for both sides, or check that second conference game. I always forget that. Now LSU Eunice, Louisiana State University Eunice, a team that we talked about last week, they are officially, of course, now in the conference. They replaced none other than Jacksonville College, which some may say it's nice. Some others may say, well, it's the same length of a drive, except this time you go out of Houston and you go into Louisiana, which some may say, well, leaving Texas, that's not necessarily great. But in reality, of course, it's interesting. It's a tougher team in the conference in my eyes. We'll talk a little bit about it once again. We go back to it, and Angelina College and TSC, they've had some good matchups, but the only difference, of course, has been none other than for TSC, they need to find a victory, but I don't think that they'll get it. Of course, like I mentioned, a lot of the teams are better. They're good, but just a lot of the teams are better. And what I mean by that as well is, we'll dive into it again. Angelina College for the men's and women's sides are normally ranked. We'll go and dive into the top 20 when we get the chance to. When we switch out to it, it'll be around 2:30, 2:40-ish in the show. So going back to it, of course, your games that you can expect on this Friday for football. For your football season, of course, broadcast times, there's a couple that are broadcast times before 7 p.m. Some still say 6:30, but for the like of McAllen High School, Mac High taking on Edinburgh Vela. That game is scheduled for a kickoff at 7:30 p.m. We'll be on the air at 7 p.m. to bring you all the pregame show for that time. Of course, at 7 p.m. as well, you have Mission High School taking on McAllen Memorial. That's another district matchup in the same district there, so we'll be keeping an eye on that for my broadcast as well, just to keep everyone updated and things of that nature to see where teams will, at the end of that night, at the end of Friday night, line up in that district, coming on to a bigger week forward, which won't be too long until Mackay and McAllen Memorial will take on each other. Now, Rio Sports Live Network will not be able to cover that game, but MISD will, which is McAllen ISD. They do a phenomenal job with their broadcast too. So, of course, we'll try and get those scores and all of that as the nights, of course, continue. As the weeks continue for, well, this time, of course, getting into week number 5. Week number 5 of high school football, just like that, almost halfway through it for sure. So very exciting indeed. Now, of course, you bring on to the next game, really, at 6:30 p.m., your broadcast time at Brownsville Veterans Memorial. You do have Brownsville Vets taking on PSJ High School. That one should be a cakewalk for Brownsville Veterans Memorial High School. Just they're that good, and well, for PSJ High School, it looked like they were going to be good this season, and then all of a sudden to have just struggled to find their footing, and sure enough, it's going to be very difficult for PSJ High School to put up a fight in my eyes against a very powerful offense of Brownsville Veterans Memorial. We'll break down that, I think, more for sure, but moving back to it, like we mentioned, Mackay and Edinburgh Vela, that one should be, I think, the game of the week, or the game of Friday for the games that we are covering. In my eyes, I think it's going to be a close one. Mackay's special teams and defense have been phenomenal. The offense, when given an opportunity, have taken advantage since that second week, really. And so that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and it should be very interesting to see how that game really gets played out, because Edinburgh Vela, for a while, they struggled. They lost against a big opponent. They lost against their rivals by a good amount against Edinburgh High School. And so you kind of put that into fruition. What did they do last week? Well, Edinburgh Vela came back, bounced back, and put up a really big offensive performance against Mission High School. Mission High School were only able to score 3 points in that whole entire game. So holding them scoreless, holding them touchdownless in a way, was something that some people, including myself, weren't expecting to see nevertheless. And so that's going to be interesting. I think really Edinburgh Vela did bounce back, but again, this is a game where I wouldn't say it's for district in any means, but really wanting to dive into this one, so we'll just do that exactly right now for Mackay football and Edinburgh Vela football. For example, they both, of course, won their first district games. A lot of teams mainly won their district games here in this district, including Nicky Rowe, including McAllen Memorial, including Mackay, including Edinburgh Vela. And so, with the standings, it's that tight of a district, with Vela still, of course, up top of it by putting up more points than any team. Rowe, Mackay, McAllen Memorial. Then you have your one-loss teams of Palmview, Waters Lincoln, Rio Grande City, and Mission. So, and it is by points for Rowe only scoring 14 and Mackay scoring 42. But the points against, of course, mattered more, as Rowe only gave up 7 points, and of course, Villa only giving up 3. And so, sure enough, with those 10 points given up by Mackay, that's why they are in third, and the 14 points given up by McAllen Memorial is why they sit fourth in that final playoff spot. And so, those are big games. All teams wanting to, of course, win, but we will have a one-loss team in that top 4 rank, which will be interesting to say the least. Rowe, of course, they start things off at home. They'll play against none other than Waters Lincoln High School, after only putting up 14 points against none other than Palmview High School. It was a defensive-minded game. Turnovers did play a part in that one, and it'll be interesting, to say the least. For Nicky Rowe, what I want to look for is, will they clean up, of course, the plays that made them miss that opportunity to win them the game? or to win them the game sooner, to make them score more points. In my eyes, it should have been a 21-7 game or anything like that of that nature. But again, that's how it happened. As for Edinburgh Villa, like we said, they bounced back this past week against none other than Mission High School, winning winning by a great margin of 49-3. They had won the week prior against Harlingen High School 52-10. So my bad on that, but 19-6 loss against Edinburgh High School was concerning in week number 2, to say the least, because of how Edinburgh High School had been playing their games. And so now looking back at those scores, that's what I expected to see Edinburgh Villa's scores of, and Mackay have not looked any different. Mackay have that single loss as well. It was against a tough opponent of none other than Los Fresnos High School. And so with that loss, you kind of put it back into perspective of, okay, what can Edinburgh Villa do to improve? And sure enough, they were able to prove that. Mackay, of course, I'd still like them to fix a couple of other things for their game, but for the most part, they seem like they're on track as well. And this game, again, seems like it's on track to be the game of the week from RSL Network's standpoint of us covering any of those games. We bring you back to, of course, the games that are on tap this week as well. St. Joseph Academy will be playing none other than Edinburgh Economies that broadcast time at 6:30. So that will be exciting. And then after that is Sherryland High School and Mercedes High School. That one could be a great game. That is going to be broadcasted by John. And so, again, it will be interesting, but in my eyes, I think, yes, being a little biased here, my game might be the better one, but who knows? That's why we played the game. It could be a blowout by Edinburgh Villa. It could be a blowout by Mackay. We don't know, but I expect on paper for it to be greater than really any of these. But the Mercedes and Sherryland game could be very different than we're expected. Now for Pace and Roma. Pace and Roma, that one should be a decent game. But Roma High School, of course, they have not been the best team in their district this year, or a couple of years for a while. Just sometimes they're on and off. They've been great, and then they've been bad, and then they've been great, and then they've been bad, or they've been good, bad, good, bad. So it's kind of back and forth with this team. You never know what you're going to get. Very inconsistent in general. And then, of course, we'll have a Marine Military Academy game. That kickoff is apparently really broadcast time at 7:15. And you have La Villa taking on none other than Marine Military Academy. That should be very fun. It's almost as always a non-district rivalry in a way. Rivalry, let me be more clear, rivalry on the field, definitely not off the field. All these teams definitely respect each other very well. And that's kind of what I expect from this game. And, of course, then Saturday you have your volleyball on tap, which should be very exciting. For Brownsville Veterans Memorial at noon, you'll have Brownsville Veterans Memorial taking on Brownsville Hannah. Should be a fun one. McCallum Memorial taking on Sherryland High School at Sherryland. Got to cover them, of course, yesterday. That it was a little concerning in the sense of for Sherryland High School for volleyball, they fell behind early on in set number 1 against PSJ North, but were able to take care of business in that first set. Set number 2 really took care of business and only allowed 12 points against PSJ North in that second set. Now for set number 3, it was a struggle. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and all of a sudden it was 21 points for PSJ North. It was looking like it was going to go into a fourth set. Sherryland High School were able to find the push to go to the end. And so that was great. It was great. But we go back to it. Sherryland High School definitely needing to find that extra momentum to be able to beat a big side of McAllen Memorial starting the second half of district play. We're going to take a quick break here. Been talking for a while, needing an ad break, and when we return, we will go back to talking a little bit more about volleyball. And then after that, we'll move on and kind of break down a little bit of the TSC game, and then, of course, we'll go from there. We'll be right back after this. I'm Jacob Young. This is Rio Sports Live Network. Stay tuned.
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
No matter where you are in life, Texas Southmost College is here to help you move forward. Whether you're starting fresh, changing careers, or gaining new skills, TSC has affordable programs designed to fit your goals. It's time to take the next step. Think big. Think bright. Think TSC.
Fiber, this is our home. Take a look at what we do.
There we go. Back we go once again here. I'm Jacob Young. This is Rio Sports Live Network, live from none other than Luke Fruia Motors, Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, well, come by and check out Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac, located in Brownsville, Texas, off of Old House Road, Price Road to be exact, and very exciting once again. We go back to it for a split second, talking a little bit volleyball, because it's very interesting. Second half of district play starts up with none other than 31-5A and 32-5A, which is exciting to see what lies ahead. Sherryland High School were not able to get the job done back in the start of district play in the first half against McAllen Memorial. They've been on the outside looking in so far. This is the game that I'm covering this weekend. It is McAllen Memorial and Sherryland High School. It's at Sherryland High School. That one should be a great game. But McAllen Memorial has kind of been on a bit more of a heater. They have lost a couple of games against, of course, Pioneer. Pioneer have been so far the team to beat, which is pretty impressive in my eyes. That's a team that I've been excited to see. And when you look at, of course, that team really quickly, when you look at Pioneer High School, they have every player that's just been on top of everything, from the front line doing their job, the back line getting a lot of aces when needed to. Again, the key thing has been, a sweep against McAllen Memorial, or just about a sweep against McAllen Memorial. A lot of big teams going down there and, well, losing. For example, really quickly, of course, I'll go to Pioneer Volleyball just to tell you all about this team really quickly. The next game for themselves, they started off playing against Edinburgh Vella High School, and the first time that they played against Edinburgh Vella High School, were able to take care of business. The reason why they're up in district play and why they're in first place in district play as well. You slide all the way down here, and that was a big victory for themselves in district, just getting that three sets to 2. So it did go into 5. I expect that to go into 5 again. And so a 3-0 sweep against McCallum Memorial, that was key. 3-2 victory over Mac High. 3-0. It was not a sweep against Sherryland High School. It was 3-1. And Rowe, of course, getting a sweep there in PSJ Southwest to finish off the first round of district play. And so we'll expect a 5-set game, most likely, against them. But that's just how dominant Pioneer High School have been in volleyball. And we're, of course, talking about Sherryland High School and none other than McCallum Memorial for that game particularly. McCallum Memorial, if they're able to get that victory, that doesn't turn any time. That just helps them out in the long run of potentially getting second place in district. Now, when McCallum Memorial and Edinburgh Vela play against each other, that's going to be key. I think that's really for second place. Yes, Pioneer, Diamondbacks are 8-0. I would expect if they were to, of course, beat Sherryland again or beat Mac High, just win a couple more key victories, I don't believe that they can lose district. And so, of course, just getting ready for that playoff is going to be key. But all those players that I've talked to for Pioneer, what do they want? Going undefeated. First time in school history, or first time in history that if they were to go undefeated and win district, that would be key. I believe that's what they've been saying, and so that's a key thing. They want to continue this ride. They want to continue that momentum that they have for sure, and it's great. I think there's a lot of confidence there, and I like what they're doing on offense, on defense, in volleyball, so that's going to be fun. So here we go. We'll move on this time, talking TSC soccer. We'll talk, of course, Texas Southmost soccer really quickly because, well, they play a big game against Angelina College. And so, for the NJCAA, we'll start off with the women's Texas. They will travel to Brenham, Texas, after, of course, getting back home, I believe. And that's going to be interesting. Well, we'll say this. What has changed in the NJCAA rankings from this week? Daytona State College still is number 1, with number 2 being Arizona Western College. Navarro College move up to 3rd. They were 5th at one point, then 4th, I believe, last week, and now in 3rd place in the nation. Monroe, well, first off, Seminole State College in 5th, with 6th place being Monroe Community College. Very exciting there, with 7th being Cowley County Community College. 8th place being Indian Hills Community College, and 9th place being Eastern Florida State College. Then 10th with Iowa Western Community College. That is rounding out, of course, your top 10. You move on to 11th with Montlow State Community College, and 12th being Hutchinson Community College, with Snow College in 13th. So very exciting top 13 there, with Eastern Arizona College in 14th. Trinity Valley Community College move all the way down to 15th, with Angelina College in 16th. So right underneath there. Once again, this is the women's soccer rankings. 17th being Tyler Junior College. 18th being Lewis and Clark Community College, and 19th being Ranger College. 20th being Southwestern Illinois College, and the teams that are receiving votes right now, that's Laramie County, South Georgia State, and Blinn, as well as Garden City. So those are the teams that are also receiving votes, but are outside of the top 20. And one of them, of course, to note is Blinn College. That is a team that is in, of course, the conference of TSC for the women's side of things. And so Angelina College, of course, ranked 16th. Tyler Junior College ranked 17th. Something to, of course, kind of think of for the women's side for TSC. They lost to none other than Tyler Junior College by a good amount of goals, but were able to draw against Trinity Valley Community College at home. Both of those games were at home technically. But that's something to think of. Now, of course, still with it is, well, they have to play against Angelina College. They're ranked, of course, 17th, check that, 16th in the nation. And so 15th, 16th, 17th, for really, of course, 16th place being Angelina College, it's not that they're favored, but they, of course, have a chance to, for TSC, pull off a draw. That's a result. Yes, a win is always difficult on the road, in soccer especially. But getting a draw on the road, that is key. That can really boost some confidence level going into Blinn College, a place where, again, TSC have never performed well at the last 2 seasons that they played there. I believe their combined goal differential is not well, both the men's and the women's. So there's positive coming up very, very soon for these 2 schools, or for TSC. Playing against teams that they can definitely get results of, especially for the women's side. We've seen their play. They definitely don't have the height. Definitely don't necessarily have the strength in the way that I've seen them get muscled off the ball several times. But with that being said, oh boy, do they have the resilience, because they really do. I've seen that with my own eyes. I've seen how they played against even the top 5 team in the nation, which was Navarro Community College. Yes, losing 5-0, okay, but again, we keep going back to it. But again, the resilience on the field was interesting enough. Yes, of course, losing, of course, to Louisiana State University Eunice, a team that's not even ranked. That's going to be tough. I would, in my eyes, blame a little bit more of the travel. First time, of course, there as well. They've been to Angelina College. That's why I can expect to potentially see a victory there for TSC. Or not a victory. Well, a victory for them, again, would be a draw. I can definitely see that on the women's side. On the men's side, it's going to be very interesting because for the NJCAA men's soccer rankings, we'll get that for you all very quickly here because it's, again, very interesting. We've seen how TSC can play. Losing 2-0 on the road was not, of course, the best result that they could get. And TSC have not scored a goal in a while. They have not scored a goal in at least one full match. Because also losing to North Texas Community College did not favor themselves in the slightest. But in that slump right now, for your top 20, as of September 22nd, week 4, you have Iowa Western Community College with Eastern Florida State College, Tyler Junior College, Cali County Community College, and Indian Hills Community College. That is your top 5 in the NJCAA men's soccer rankings. Then you have Illinois Central College with Daytona State College, Arizona Western College, Barton Community College, and Snow College. That rounds out your top 10 right there. Interesting top 10. Really, I've only named one team that TSC have played against so far in that top 10. But now we move on to the rest of it, to the top 15 and the top 20. Here's the top 15 for you. Lewis and Clark Community College, Dodge City Community College, Coastal Bend College, Otero College, Harcum College. That's your top 15. Coastal Bend College is a team that will, for the TSC men's side, they'll play against. Very exciting here for the men's side, playing against, of course, TSC, or playing against Coastal Bend College. That will be, I believe, the end of the first part of conference play, as it is always a home and home. And for that game, I believe TSC will play on a Sunday for that match, so that's pretty interesting in itself. You move on down the line again. Casper College with Mohave College, Angelina College, Montgomery College, and Blinn College. That's where a lot more teams arrive in the top 20 for the NJCAA national rankings. So that's exciting. Coastal Bend College 13th, Angelina College 18th, and Blinn College 20th. yes, they're ranked in the top 20. Angelina College is on the road. Same with Blinn College. But right now, in my eyes, TSC need to score. The men's side needs to find the back of the net, boost their confidence level that way. Whether or not they can get a victory is besides the point. Getting goals will give you the better opportunities to find a draw at least. And that's going to be key against Angelina College, ranked 18th. They can play spoiler. 18th and 20th right there. Getting a draw, getting a victory in one of those two. In my eyes, of course, that, yes, they don't go by points or anything like that, but let's say if they were, that would be a 4-point weekend. That is splendid. From Friday to Tuesday. That would be, of course, the goal. 1 win, 1 draw. I think they can do it, but they need to find the back of the net. And it's so funny how I feel like this is deja vu. I've said this a lot in general. This is not no rant, this is not a rant at all. I'm just, it feels like I've seen this before where TSC just, the men's side, they just struggle to find the back of the net. That's it. They're talented. Again, this team has talent, has skill. They shouldn't, going back to it, they shouldn't have lost against Tyler Junior College. They shouldn't. They shouldn't have lost against Northeast Texas Community College. These are matches that they could have won. And so going to Angelina, that's a match that I think if they can find the back of the net and be resilient and cool-headed, not allow Angelina College to get in their head, this can be a victory on the road, an upset. Because, again, they're not ranked. So, therefore, they're probably ranked around 50th right now. And what I mean by that is just that's going to be not ranked. So, that's how I feel about it. And it's a good opportunity for TSC to really, in my eyes, get back on the right track and get to 500. That should be their goal, to get to 500. In general, yes, of course, you get those draws, but the team is good enough to compete. It's weird. Like I said, going back to it last week, I feel like it's for the recruiting. You just need those leaders. That's all you need. A couple players from out of state, maybe a player from overseas. That's it. We're talking 4 players at most. And the rest of them, of course, from the Valley, they continue to do what they've done. That's good. But mixing in that type of skill is going to set the tone for years to come. They definitely have that chance to be like Blinn College. They definitely have that chance to be like Angelina College. And all those other teams, that's the way to do it. They can't just rely on the Valley. They can't. But, like I said, it's there to where they're close. They're very close to breaking through. And I hope they prove me wrong if they can break through without any other players from overseas, from anything like that. So, very exciting once again. Looking forward to it. And this, of course, weekend, like we said, that's Friday. And 2 and 4 p.m. will be the games in Angelina and Lufkin, Texas, to be exact. And then after that will be none other than going to Blinn College in Brenham, Texas. So we'll take a quick little break here. When we return, we will get you with the next part of this portion of the show, which is going to be exciting. We're going to stay with soccer, but it's something very interesting that I think it's time to talk about finally, which will be very exciting. And it does have something to do with Brownsville, Texas, but we'll be right back, and when we return, we'll talk about it.
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
No matter where you are in life, Texas Southmost College is here to help you move forward. Whether you're starting fresh, changing careers, or gaining new skills, TSC has affordable programs designed to fit your goals. It's time to take the next step. Think big. Think bright. Think TSC.
The middle. It's in! That's another touchdown! Jones keeps the line. Now that becomes a hit. Castillo on. And that's going to be a fumble recovered by the Cardinals.
Fiber, this is your home. Take a look at what we do.
Back we go once again here. Very exciting. 2:43 p.m. on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in September 24th, 2025. I'm Jacob Young. This is Real Sports Live Network, live from none other than Luke Fruia, Buick GMC, and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, come check out Luke Fruia, Buick GMC, and Cadillac, located here in Brownsville, Texas. Very exciting stuff coming up here once again. Moving into a little more professional potential sports, to be exact, and well, it's soccer. Excuse me. Well, so why am I going to bring this up? Well, because it does have effect on the Valley. As we had mentioned in the summertime, that there was a team that came to fruition kind of from the brink of nothing, was the RGV Red Crowns. The RGV Red Crowns, there's no new news on themselves. They are still, of course, as right now, will still be in the league for clubs. Will not be making a move just yet, at least to the USL League 2, which would be the other summer league that is potentially marked as it being just a bit better, but at the same level as the league for clubs. We'll wait and see. Now, on to the next side of things, of course, is, well, a team not too far from here, all the way down to the Brownsville Sports Park. They've been in a lot of different transitions, to say the least, and that is FC Brownsville. Why would I bring this up so far? Well, because, again, there's breaking news. When I used to cover them with RSL Network for the start, they were in this league called the NPSL, the National Premier Soccer League. The National Premier Soccer League used to be, well, with the name, a Premier Soccer League in the U.S. They used to be the top league in the nation over the MLS. The MLS comes along and kind of just takes that away, and the Seattle Sounders come in, the Portland Timbers come in, all these other teams, they come into the MLS. Very exciting right there. Then you move on to none other than the original, the NPSL, still holding strong in that League 2, or as the second division in U.S. soccer. And then all of a sudden, here comes this league called the USL Championship and USL League 1. And it becomes a thing, and it starts to grow and grow and grow. In 2016, there's a team called the RGVFC Toros that come into the league and make it noticeable. And in 2017, they played their first game and had all this success and such, or well, really 2016, I should say. It was their first official year. And so it was exciting, and it brought a lot of joy into soccer. So that was a good thing. Of course, then the unfortunate thing happens where the team has to fold and the USL Championship, and then there was a spot in that needed to be filled, basically, in the RGV for soccer. And then here comes the RGV Red Crowds, not a professional soccer team, just going to be semi-pro at that time. Well, there was a team that was lurking in the background for the whole entire time, called, again, FC Brownsville. Like I mentioned, they were in the MPSL. The MPSL struggled to make ends meet for the last, since really 2022. And so FC Brownsville, as they kept growing and growing into this academy, decided to move over to this league called the UPSL, another league that, well, as it expanded, was a lot better, a little bit more, of course, semi-pro, but players were still getting paid and all this fun stuff. So, with that being said, all of a sudden, with different management and all this happening with FC Brownsville, I don't necessarily know the crazy details of where that team was at the time, but then all of a sudden they were in talks with USL. I'd kind of heard that in the background for a while, but nothing, of course, was coming of it or even remotely official. And so I never brought it up on this show because, well, there was no facts. There wasn't a lot to back it up. Now there's a lot to back it up with, of course, the city meeting with USL. And for a while, everyone thought, okay, it's going to be in USL League One for now, which is just right underneath the Championship League. Not that big of a deal. There's also, of course, USL been talking a lot about promotion and relegation, so that'll be fun too. Then all of a sudden, they have this meeting not too long ago that said, okay, we're going to aim to try and make it into the USL Championship. Good for them. City's backing them, all this fun stuff. That's a positive for Brownsville. But there's still so many questions and answers. Yes, where will they play? They want to play at the Brownsville Sports Park. Let me tell you something. No team in the USL Championship that I've known of plays on turf, especially worn down turf. They would have to completely redo this place. They would have to completely redo the sports park, and that would take years and years and years. Where will they play for the time being? I don't know, but it's not worth it in my eyes. That's just me. USL stadiums, USL Championship stadiums, range from, of course, sizes of capacity, but the average capacity is around 10,000. That's how much HB Park was at the time when the Toros did play there. And I'm sure that won't be an issue, but again, it's just making it nicer. It's getting a new screen. It's making everything bigger and up to standards, because right now, in my eyes, the way that the sports park is, for America, that's a League Two stadium. In, of course, England is what I'm basing it off of, the EFL, of course. You go from non-league football to the Premier League. And, of course, the stadiums vary massively, but I look back to it and I say to myself, that is an equivalent to a League Two stadium at the best. So there's a lot that needs to happen for myself to feel like it's on its way to actually happening. There's still, of course, a lot of talks, and this could all fall out tomorrow. This could all fizzle out, I should say, tomorrow. And that's the truth, because you don't know about these things until they're official. All we know right now is that Brownsville have been meeting with the USL to try to get a championship team. USL are exploring Brownsville at the moment. Brownsville think this is going to be great to expand their city. I agree. Just like where the Red Crowns were, it's a pretty good growth already for Harlingen and where that stadium is comparatively and all that fun stuff. So there's a lot of positive, but we'll wait and see how it all goes. We'll wait and see how it all plays out, because we just really, truly don't know. I've heard some other things that it's just talk right now, and so I don't want to repeat it on air because there's nothing truly to back it up just yet. So we'll see how it all goes here very soon. But we'll wait and see because, like I said, we don't know how it's all going to happen and should be exciting once again. But moving on once again as we close out this show or get close to closing out this show at 2:52 p.m. It's going to be interesting breaking down, I guess, one more thing for you all. I got this on ESPN, and this was pretty interesting right now. Just a little update that college football, the playoffs are not expected to change anytime soon, which is exciting, or at least this year to be exact, as it's a 12-team playoff right now, and that's going to stay the same as it stands, and that's very exciting in itself. I don't know what else to expect from that, but it's very exciting once again. Big slate of games this weekend. We'll go back to talking about for the Rio Sports Live games for you all. And it's, again, very exciting once again. As for Brownsville Veterans Memorial, they host Brownsville Hannah. That's going to be for volleyball, but for football again for tomorrow. Just to update you all on the games coming up very soon. It's at Tom Landry Stadium, Mission Vets, and Harlingen High School. That's a game that will be on Channel 4.1, and it's going to be interesting to say the least. Because as for Harlingen High School, they've done a really good job against Mission Vets, as for Harlingen High School, they've done a really good job this season, even though losing some key games, but just winning in district is going to be key. Mission Veterans Memorial, their offensive power can be interesting, and defensive power, same deal. As for McAllen High School and McAllen Rowe, that's the game that, at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium, McAllen Rowe against Juarez Lincoln. That's a game that should be taken care of easily by Nicky Rowe. There's no reason why it should not be. Juarez Lincoln have not looked good this season. They've looked okay, but not great. And so, sure enough, for McAllen Rowe, Nicky Rowe being able to put up points again will be key just for their confidence level. We go back again to Angelina and TSC. We dug through that one. We fully covered it plenty of times. And then going back to the game that I'm covering this weekend, which, again, is Mackay taking on Edinburgh Vella High School. We didn't really dive into what to expect, but I do still expect to see some offense mixed in with, of course, defense. And now, the defensive game for both teams is strong. Mackay, with their special teams, have been the difference maker so far this year that I've been able to cover. 2 kickoffs recovered by either a fumble or just on their own. And so that is a positive. As for Edinburgh Vella, they'd had that one struggle against Edinburgh High School. I still don't know how, but they were able to bounce back perfectly and win their first district game against Mission High School. That is a key thing to remember. Both teams have been scoring the most points in district play, as that is the truth, and that's why, of course, first and second place, this is 1v2 in district. And I'm very excited about that game. It has a lot riding on it just from that one match. If Mackay are able to score, or if Mackay are able to score first, they have that opportunity to really take over and basically be able to win this game. So that's going to be key once again. Well, Rowe actually checked that is in second place, but Mac High, of course, 1v3. That's kind of how it will go. I don't see how it's going to play out. This could be my first overtime game of the season. I don't know. But that is what I expect to see back and forth game. Back and forth 3 and outs, back and forth 3 and outs, and then, of course, a couple of back and forth score lines. I believe that we will see 56 points combined in this game. Besides, of course, who will win? Now, I don't know. I don't want to predict a final score, but I want to predict that this is going to be an offensive game. Every single time that I seem like I've said it's going to be an offensive game, it's been a defensive game. So I would not be too upset if that will be the case in the end. It's been very exciting once again covering sports for you all today. Here with 3 minutes to go in this show. Once again, here from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. That gives us an opportunity, of course, to break down what is going on this week in racing. Not too much, as of course last week we had the Battle of the Bricks. Cadillac were able to win. The Cadillac Well-Modified Welland team were able to be victorious in the GTP side of things, which is the overall, of course, class victory, and then the overall race win and the class victory indeed. And then, of course, in the GTD side of things, it was nothing out of the ordinary, with it being a pretty average race. No weather forecast in that race really affected any teams. And then, of course, 2 weeks from now, we will have the Petit Le Mans, which is, of course, in Brazelton, Georgia, up at Road Atlanta. That will be for the whole entire thing. That is another endurance racing championship race, to be exact, just like it was last week with the 6 hours. And now, of course, you have the 10 hours. One of the most difficult racetracks on the calendar for endurance racing in my eyes, and it's very exciting. I'm still seeing if I will be able to get there and watch the racing in person. That's going to be very exciting once again, as last year we saw a crazy finish, but it seems like the championships won't be decided until that racing weekend. So very excited for that once again. But I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio Sports Live presentation. As, of course, we're wrapping up this show. Thank you all so very much for watching. You can watch us, of course, live on our Rio Sports Live app. And none other than you can find that on Google Play, Roku TV. You can also watch us on our website at riosportslive.com. And then, not to mention, none other than on YouTube, streaming on all of our different platforms. Again, I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio Sports Live presentation, and we